Now, believe it or not, as weird as this may sound, it was birth control that caused it, or stopping or starting it. Hey boo, it's Beverly with HairScripts, and this video is very near and dear to my heart because we're going to talk about how birth control, either starting or stopping it, can affect hair loss. And by affecting hair loss, I mean actually causing hair loss, right? Or it can trigger your hair loss in any specific way. And I just want to start off by saying 40% of women are dealing with this problem. So sis, you are not alone. Come out of hiding. If you're hiding because you're quarantined, then stay where you are. But all jokes aside, come out of hiding. There is a community that can support you, that can help you through this process. And guess what? You are not alone, and it is reversible. It can be fixed. This is not a death sentence, or this is not until death. Let's put it like that. So that community is, if you don't already know, HairScripts, which is a platform and a community that is connecting women like you and I dealing with hair loss issues from mild to severe, all types of hair loss issues, no matter what the cause, to dermatologists, trichologists, and other hair restoration experts who can treat us, support us, and hold our hand through the process of returning to thriving, beautiful hair, whatever that means to you, right? Even if it's just your scalp is no longer on fire and you feel good about yourself and you can now put that wig on because it's not gonna exacerbate the issue, then that's thriving hair for you, then that's what you're gonna get, right? So let's just move on. In this video, I'm gonna talk about a few things. Number one, the causes of hormonal acne, because that's essentially what that is, right? Birth control can alter your hormones in so many different ways, and it is so different for so many women, right? Some women can have excessive estrogen, some women can have excessive testosterone, and then there's all the little, what I call them, the hormones in between, right? There's so many different hormones, and this is not gonna be an in-depth video about hormonal hair loss. And please comment down below. First of all, like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend, a sister girl, someone you know who is experiencing hair loss as a result of stopping or starting their birth control. And like I mentioned, that is because of hormonal hair loss. Please, this is going to help them today. I'm going to talk about the causes, and I'm going to talk about the treatments, because there are treatments. There are over-the-counter treatments, and the number one treatment, and let me just jump right in, is seeing a dermatologist. If you did not know, let me put you on. Seeing a dermatologist can be absolutely free, at least the first time. Your insurance, whatever insurance you may or may not have, will cover it for you. So why suffer in silence? Why keep throwing pots at the wall hoping that one sticks, when all you have to do is simply get on a phone, schedule an appointment, schedule a scalp evaluation, and they can evaluate your scalp. They can do a full workup, a full diagnostic, including a full blood work, a hormone panel, to see if your hormones are indeed out of whack and causing your hair loss, which was my case. So I'm gonna give you a quick little story time. When I say quick, I mean quick, okay? I'm gonna give you a quick little story time, and that story time is, I was going through my own bout of hair loss, and while my hair loss wasn't just due to one cause, which is hormones was one of those causes. So I'll give you a full story time video on the cause of my hair loss and everything in another video. But in this video, I want to address specifically the hormonal hair loss, okay? I was dealing with something called female pattern hair loss, aka androgenic alopecia, which is a form of hormonal hair loss due to, it can be hereditary, or it can due to your hormones being completely out of whack. In my situation, my hormones were completely out of whack. My DHEAS levels were excessively high, and my testosterone levels were high, okay? Now, while I wasn't sounding a little bit like a dude and I wasn't starting to do craziness, you can start to get facial hair, you can start to see an enlarged clitoris, you can start to see, and some of y'all like, that's not a problem. Listen, let's stick to the point, okay? Let's stick to the video at hand. You can grow hair where you don't want to, and then lose hair where you want your hair, right? Which is starting to see a lot of thinning, and in this case, you can see some balding at this part of your head. Okay, so for me, I was starting to see different patterns of baldness, obviously female pattern baldness. I didn't personally see it. In fact, I couldn't identify it. And because my hair, especially when it's curly, is big and fluffy, I missed it, right? Even when I was shedding excessively, and that was the trigger for me, that's what I said, oh my God, because my shedding was just out of this world. My Telogen effluvium, which is, everyone has the Telogen cycle, everyone goes through it. And by the way, there's 3 hair growth cycles. There's the anagen, where your hair is on complete hair growth, like it's on beast mode hair growth. That is the cycle that is activated when you guys are pregnant, because all the hormones, the cocktail of hormones that is happening in your body, the increased estrogen or progesterone and all those different things that are going on is activating that anagen cycle, which is putting your hair growth in beast mode. That's why for those 9 months, after those 9 months, you have hair down your back, you have thick, beautiful, flowing hair because you've been in anagen, right? Catagen is just resting. I call it resting itch phase, okay? When your hair ain't doing nothing, it's just chilling. They're like, look, we ain't doing nothing. We're not growing, we ain't leaving. We just here, okay? We squatting. Okay, that's the catagen phase, okay, the catty, okay, that's how you can remember that. Telogen phase is when your hair sheds. Now telogen is actually natural, we shed, right? Now let me say this, just in case you're wondering, our hair, the way our hair work and the way our follicles work, on one given head, you can be going through several different phases, right? So this piece could be going to anagen, this piece could be going to catagen, this telogen. So don't think that it's all one time. Whereas anagen in your pregnancy is fully activated. You know, different hair follicles or different hair strands are going through different stages at different times. That's why we can shed, AKA telogen, 100 strands a day, right? That's natural and normal. But telogen effluvium is when you shed excessively. Okay, that is that my hair is gonna fall out. One more wash day and I'm done. I'm a wash day away from being bald, sis. I'm not doing it. I don't care if my head stink, if my scalp itch, I ain't washing it not one more day, okay? Find me a spray that's gonna wash this, because if I wash my hair, I'm done, okay? That's telogen effluvium. A lot of us go through it after pregnancy, after trauma. You know, for those of you who don't know, there are studies that are going out now that's saying that a lot of people are dealing with telogen effluvium, or AKA hair loss, after being not exposed, but after having COVID-19, you know, because your body will go through trauma and it will hold on to that hair, but 3 months later, that's when it is like it pops out. In some situations, the stress or the trauma can pop it out immediately, right? So let's stick to the matter at hand. So like I said, 40% of women are going through hormonal hair loss. In my case, like I said, it was androgen and alopecia because I had high testosterone levels. So I had to get a full blood work panel. A dermatologist did that. I would have never known if a dermatologist didn't do a hormone panel and I found out about my high testosterone levels. Can you believe, right? Yes. My own primary care doctor and GYN wasn't doing that much. It was my dermatologist that actually saved my life, because why? I had to go get a pelvic sonogram and found out that my lining wasn't shedding. I had polyps, a whole bunch of stuff going on. And all that time going to the GYN, going to the primary care doctors, telling them, hey, something is a little weird. I don't know, I don't feel right. And they're like, you're fine, you're fine. Your regular blood work is normal, right? But it wasn't until my hair started falling out that I was like, y'all ain't finna tell me nothing is fine, okay? Okay, hold that, okay? Miss me with the BS, because something is definitely wrong, okay? And I had to go to a dermatologist who did a full hormone panel, and that hormone panel is what I took to my GYN, who is no longer my GYN. They had to do a pelvic sonogram, found out that I had buildup in my cervical lining and adenomyosis and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm in the spectrum for PCOS, okay? And then on top of that, you know, polyps was found after I had to do a whole cervical biopsy or an endo biopsy because my hair was falling out and nobody was telling me this. So let me stop everything, hold the phone, let me put you on. If you feel like something is not right with your body and doctors are telling you you're fine, find another doctor, okay? Come back to that doctor and slap them in the face, or write a complaint after the fact. Focus on you right now. You can't focus on that doctor. I don't like no doctor to tell me that ain't nothing wrong with me if I know my body. I may not be a doctor and I may not be able to pinpoint what's wrong with it, but I know my body and something's not right. That's number one. Number two, if a doctor tells you, oh, we found something, but it's not a big deal, we're just gonna keep watching it. I almost cursed y'all, and I'm still small. I'm not trying to be demonetized, and I'm not even monetized yet, okay? So that's where we at right now. We trying to get to the point where we're not being canceled before we even become something on this platform. But I will say this, okay? Don't you ever tell me, oh, I found something, but it's not really that big of a deal. We just gonna wait for it to turn into terminal cancer, and then we'll deal with it. Son, if that didn't deserve a snuff, okay, that's neither here nor there. Enough about that, okay? I'm going off into tangents like I always do. If you've been following me, you know, and if you're new, welcome to the channel, because you know that this is what I do. I go off on tangents, but they're all relevant, right? And I come back, I bring it back. So let's reel it back in. All of that to say, first, I had to treat the issue, right? So you can't go into, well, I need to fix my hair. Sometimes hair is the symptom, right, of the problem, the underlying issue. So we had to balance my hormones, which is still an ongoing process. And then all of the things that my dermatologist and I work, my dermatologist work with my endo and my gyno to construct a plan for me to regrow and retain hair, to stop hair loss, regrow hair, and then retain it, right? So that we're not going back down that dark path again. So that is why it's so important, ladies, if you don't hear anything else, if you think that you might be dealing with hormonal hair loss, because, and in this specific video, we're talking about you started birth control and now your hair is falling out, or you stopped it and now your hair is falling out. 10 times out of 10, that is hormonal hair loss. You had no hair loss prior to birth control, or now because of birth control you're seeing it, is hormonal, okay? Something is janky and is messing with your hair cycle, and now you need to work with a dermatologist, a good dermatologist who specializes in hair and skin of color, right? And a good dermatologist who specializes in hair loss treatments, who is going to work with your gynecologist and work with your endocrinologist to construct a plan for you. And believe it or not, a lot of this can be free and covered by your health insurance. Don't wait, okay? Don't keep throwing some oil on your hair, y'all. Don't keep slapping avocados and aloe vera and all you have is whatever is left on your head is nice and soft, but you still losing hair, okay? None of these plans, none of these treatments, none of these 10 steps, 15 ways, best and top ways to do anything works if underlying you have issues, okay? And in this case, hormonal issues. So let's go on and let's talk about the treatments. Now, there are tons of hormonal issues. Everybody's is different. I said this is not an in-depth video on the different types of hormonal issues because there's just no way to pinpoint it. And 9 times out of 10, if you're watching this, you don't even know what hormonal issue is. You just identified that there's something wrong because you took birth control or you were on it and now you're losing hair, or you are no longer on it and you're losing hair. Before or after birth control, you're losing hair, so it's hormonal. So the next step for you is to connect with the dermatologist. Click on the link below because we can connect you to a bomb dermatologist in your area that is going to do the work for you, okay? So that's number one. That is treatment number one. Number two, and I gotta look at my notes like I always mention because of course I have mom brain, right? And it's not gonna let me be great, okay? My acting career is gone. Like that's just not in the will for me, okay? And we realize that, okay? Because she can't retain what she even had on yesterday, okay? But anyway, back to the point, minoxidil is an FDA approved treatment for hair loss, okay? Now, I've talked about it on this channel before, but minoxidil basically, what it is, essentially at its core, when I break down all the studs, it's a DHT blocker. DHT is the death of your hair follicle. DHT is what causes men to have male pattern baldness. If you see men that are balding up here and it's shiny, that's because of DHT. And men are gonna have it in excess because of testosterone. It's a derivative of testosterone, right? So if you're a woman who may have high DHT, like me at one point I did, because of the testosterone, you're gonna be dealing with pattern hair loss, right? So minoxidil is a great treatment for people who are dealing with that. If you're balding but your follicles are still alive, they're not dead, they're just sleeping, minoxidil is gonna go in there and reactivate those follicles. They're gonna wake them up. Minoxidil, you'll know from Rogaine, it's the over-the-counter, but of course you always wanna get something prescribed from a dermatologist because the concentration is gonna be higher and it's gonna be more effective. I don't know what the percentage is over the counter, but you're gonna get the best bang for your buck, which is usually a copay or free if you just go to a dermatologist and have them write a prescription for you. But if you're still hard-headed for whatever reason and you wanna go and buy it over the counter, be my guest. Rogaine is really the main one. A lot of new products in the market are trying to implement the minoxidil, but Rogaine is still the oldie but the goodie, okay? So let's move on. Now, believe it or not, as weird as this may sound, it was birth control that caused it, or stopping or starting it. Sometimes it may be birth control that fixes it, right? Because now there's a shift. Now you need a different type of birth control that's gonna shift it back. The goal with hormone imbalance is to balance it, right? So you may have taken birth control, let's say because you chose to, right? You know, you out here, you living your best life, you living your best post-quarantine or pre-quarantine life, and you're like, I'm not getting caught, ain't nobody trapping me. Good for you, sis, great. I love that. But now you imbalance your hormone in some way. And so now it's gonna take birth control, you know, probably a low grade or a low, nothing that's too potent, that's gonna just bring you back to where you need to be. So it's funny how the cause could also be the treatment, right? But you don't determine that. Don't go in saying, well, I took birth control, I'm here, so let me go take birth control and I'll be here. Go to a dermatologist, go to a gynecologist. They're the ones who's gonna tell you which birth control, which levels have what. Please, please, please do not take this upon yourself, sis, because no birth control in the market, on the market, is created equal, okay? Number one, I don't think you can't just go buy birth control over the counter. But don't go watching a commercial and saying, oh, I want that one, because the commercial said this. You gotta go and have a full diagnostic done on you and let that doctor tell you which one is best for you, why it's best for you, first of all, you gotta do a whole hormone panel to see where your hormones are, and then they can say, okay, this one is gonna bring you right back, okay? So that's another treatment. So we mentioned minoxidil, we mentioned birth control, and I can't list them because there's so many and they all do different things. You have to see a dermatologist. Click the link down below if you need one. And then there are other things that you can do, right? Now, these other things I recommend as supplements, right? Or as adjunct therapy or treatment. What does that mean? This is what you do as maintenance therapy in addition to the main therapy, right? So the main therapy is seeing a dermatologist. You know, if a dermatologist prescribes minoxidil, it can stop your hair loss and help hair regrowth. They might recommend birth control to balance you back once you're balanced. And that's something that you have to understand. Birth control doesn't have to be long-term. It just has to be until you're back balanced. So once you're balanced again, boom, there's another opportunity. So what I recommend in the midst of all of this, right, is always taking your supplements, right? Your one-a-days. Whether you're on a one-a-day supplement, me personally, I'm fully going to keep promoting prenatal pills, whether you're pregnant or not, or trying to be or not trying to be. Prenatal pills have higher concentrations of all the vitamins that you need in your body, whether it's folic acid, whether it's zinc, whether it's the B complex, whether it's A, B, and C, all those. Let me tell you something, prenatal pills, right? And I'm gonna link my favorite ones somewhere down below, or you're gonna see it pop up. Prenatal pills, I get these from Amazon. They have a good tendency of having higher concentrations of all the good things that you need, and it's a perfect cocktail that is made for optimal absorption so that you and the unborn fetus can properly absorb all the nutrients, okay? Now, I sounded very smart by saying that. Thank you, God, I got it right. We did it, Joe, okay? So the bottom line is, I'm always gonna recommend a prenatal pill, okay? The second thing is, I'm always gonna recommend a hair growth supplement, okay? Now, I love 2 hair growth supplements, and I'll make this quick, but I have a very in-depth video on the best hair growth supplements or the vitamins that every woman should have in their arsenal, in their purse, in their medicine cabinet. But the 2 that I'm just gonna quickly name are Nutrafol, and I'm gonna name Vivisecal, okay? For 2 different purposes. Nutrafol to thicken your hair if you're dealing with thinning. Vivisecal to activate that anagen cycle, that anagen phase, and take you to beast mode growth. If inches is what you need, Vivisecal is your girl, okay? So let's move on. right? Let's move on. I have an in-depth video, check that out in the link below, or there it might pop up somewhere in this video, okay, about the best vitamin supplements for hair growth, okay? You want to do those things. You also want to do hair loss treatments, right? There are different types of hair loss treatments. There are medical hair loss treatments and there are cosmetic hair loss treatments. But I will preface this, and I'm not going to go into the names and the details because I have tons of videos on all this stuff. But what I love about the medical treatments is, guess what, sis? Your insurance covers them. Yes, you don't have to pay a thing, maybe a copay, okay? And maybe a deductible if you have one. But after all that's out the way, you can get your hair treated for free, okay? Yes, I said it. F-R-E-E, okay? For free. Don't at me, just comment down below if that's tea, and if you're very excited, and if you're gonna go to the link below and find a doctor in your area. Okay, I hope I winked right, because my winking skills are just bar terrible, okay? So that is what you're gonna do, and then I always talk about topical treatments, right? Because there's topical treatments, which is like oils or creams or whatever stuff topically you can put on your scalp. There's a whole bunch, but right now I'm just gonna talk about, you know, maybe hair growth serums, hair growth oils. There's a lot of hair growth foams and different things, but the goal is for your scalp, okay? These are scalp serums, these are scalp foams. These are not made for you doing the LOC method, the LCO. Is not made for you for your braids, for your braid ends. Is not meant for you buttering up your ends. This is just strictly, it goes to your scalp. Now I have a video on my best scalp serum, my hair growth serum that I make from scratch, and personally I like to go with the DIY. But if you want to buy a really good one, there's Naturally Glammed oil, and that one is really good. It's fully organic, fully effective. She uses great carrier oils and great essential oils that are clinically proven to regrow healthy hair. I have an empty bottle somewhere, but I don't have it on me now. But the bottom line is, by all means, please, please, please check her out, check that one out, okay? And there's a slew of other products, but I always like essential oils because essential oils are going to penetrate the scalp, penetrate the epidermis. They're going to go quicker into the bloodstream, absorb quickly into the bloodstream, and deliver oxygen and nutrients to your hair follicle, which is effective and very important for hair growth, okay? But anyway, so those are what I mentioned. Those are all supportive treatments. They're like the supportive roles, okay? If this is, no, I was gonna give you Dream Girls, but I don't even know their names, okay? So never mind. If this is Destiny's Child, the first things I mentioned is Beyonce, and the other things I mentioned is Kelly and Michelle. Please don't come for me. Please don't come for me. But I made the point though. Okay? Moving along. So ladies, I just wanna say that you are not going through this alone. 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, if you are experiencing hair loss after or before using birth control, it is 100% hormonal, and you have no choice. There is no way to diagnose this at home but to go and see a professional, a dermatologist. And if you don't have one or know of a dope dermatologist in your area that's going to give you a free scalp evaluation, that is going to connect with your gynecologist and your endocrinologist to develop a custom growth plan, and this is all for close to free because your medical insurance is going to pay for it, then click on the link down below, sis, and let us be your plug. We will link you, we will connect you. This whole thing came about because of my own lithuations, and all I want is for us to have thriving hair. But really the bottom line is I want us to rebuild our self-esteem and have the confidence and be the baddies that we know we are meant to be. Thank you.